My name's Baressa Frazer, and I belong to one of the 5 clan groups in Aurukun, the Puuch Clan, and I suppose I feel very privileged that our traditional language, being Wik Mungkan, is still spoken today very, very strongly in the community. I think if you're an outsider, you would almost feel, and when I say an outsider, I'm talking about maybe a non-Indigenous person coming into the community. People may feel a sense of isolation, even because they're hearing people speak fluently in their language. They're hearing babies speak. They're hearing their mothers and their grandparents respond to them in language. So everything that is done, all the transactions that are done between families are done in Wik Mungkan. So I suppose once upon a time there were 14 dialects in Aurukun, and Wik Mungkan became the lingua franca, I suppose, the common language of the community, because of the mission establishment and the church mission. So I think Aurukun, you could say, maybe be I suppose lucky to have Wik Mungkan or a traditional language as their first language, considering the stories that you hear around mission establishments, where as we know, a lot of historical evidence tells us that First Nation people weren't allowed to speak their first language, and therefore removed from their communities where their languages were spoken as well. So to give a context, I thought I'd use that one, where if you're an outsider and you're dropped into Aurukun, you may feel a little bit maybe unsure of what's going on, because you can hear everyone talking in a foreign language. So you've almost, it could be like going overseas and going to France or somewhere where you hear people communicating quite freely. So people can hear that the kids are communicating. So the Wik people, as some commonly refer to us, the 5 clan groups and the family groups within those 5 clan groups, are very proud that they have Wik Mungkan as their first language. And I think however, people still wish to pursue their other languages, and there are still speakers of those other 14 dialects in the community. And it would be great to see the revitalisation or the growth of those other languages as well, to ensure that children are able to learn and speak that language as well. But I think why Wik Mungkan became or encouraged and grew so strongly was because of the bilingual era, where there was the bilingual school, and prior to the bilingual school establishment, there was the Bible translation that had occurred. So there was really great pride in being able to not only speak your language, but also be able to read and to read and to write in first language. I think there is really, when you hear people talk about language in Aurukun, they're really proud that they can share in their language, and they wish to, or they aspire to read or to be literate in their first language as well. So I think the bilingual era and the Bible translation days was really a sort of a pinnacle in terms of keeping Wik Mungkan strong for so long. And I think now when we hear young people speak, we may call Wik Mungkan, the old Wik Mungkan, or some people may call it the traditional Wik Mungkan. But now we find that there's a little bit of a contemporary mix of Wik Mungkan, because we have more people. There's the transient nature of people going in between communities, going to boarding school, living outside of Aurukun has allowed for a little bit of shift in the traditional form of Wik Mungkan to this sort of contemporary mix, but it is still a traditional language. It is still the first language of our children. And that's the language that they are learning every day and speaking and using every day.